Welcome to another episode of the Swac Zone. We bring you news you can use each and every week right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Today we have a very inspirational show for you. We'll hear from the new volleyball coach of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, Miss Cheri Lindsey. We'll also hear from DG Sports by Miss Donna Glover and a whole lot more. So keep it locked where you got it and stay in tune for this week's episode of the Swac Zone.
Jarvis Christian University announces June-July early summer enrollment. Apply today and earn 12 credit hours. Also available, $500 off tuition. And for students who do not qualify for an academic scholarship may obtain a $4,000 scholarship by earning a 3.0 GPA. And all courses are transferable, and the course offers summer college preparedness. For more information, you may contact Dr. Yolanda Jones at 903-730-4890, extension 2215, or email essp@jarvis.edu. And you may visit their website at www.jarvis.edu.
And welcome back. It's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We are fortunate to have on the line with us right now the new volleyball coach for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, Miss Cheri Lindsey. How you doing today, Coach?
I am doing just fine. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Well, welcome back home. You had a successful run as a student athlete. Now you're coming back to lead the charge. But before we get into that, bring our listeners up to speed on your journey, which landed you back home at Prairie View.
Yeah, so after I graduated from here, actually 2 weeks before I graduated, I had an old coach of mine call me and ask me if I was interested in, going on and coaching as a career. I come from a family of athletes, everybody in my family is a coach, it feels like. And so she told me they would get my master's for me and everything. So I was like, yeah, I'll come out there. So I left here and went straight into my first coaching job at the collegiate level at Tiffin University, where I was there for three and a half years. And then around at that 3.5-year mark, when I turned 25, I got my first head coaching job at Bethany College, where I took that program that hadn't won any games in 2 years. It was like back-to-back 0 seasons, and we flipped that program basically in a year. I was there for 3 years and 3 seasons there with them. From there, I was able to get in contact with James Finley, who was the head women's volleyball coach at Seattle University. And he brought me in as his first assistant and recruiting coordinator. So I was up there for 2.5 years, almost 3, where I worked with him in the WAC conference and up in Seattle, and really enjoyed my time there, and got to go back to the Division I level at that point. And then I'm a head coach. I don't mind the assistant stuff. That's all great and good, but my demeanor is very much so head coach. And so took the job as the head coach at East Central, where, again, it was a very fast turnaround. The year before I got there, they had won 2 games, and then the 2 years prior to that, they went back-to-back 0 seasons, or very, very low season wins, and we flipped the program in a year. We went from basically being voted last out of 12 teams to being what was 3rd in conference. So it was a very fast turnaround. But then this job came up, and hey, you can't turn down your alma mater. At least I can't. I had a really, really good experience here, and I'm excited to be back.
Well, it sounds exciting. If you allow me to say such, it seems like you are a regulator. You come in, you find programs that might below the expectation line, and you have a tendency to flip them around. What is the secret to your quick turnarounds?
We do a lot of work. So I have a very set skill set that I like for players to be able to hit, as far as what the expectation is for, my systems with offense and defense and those type of things. But we do a lot of mindset training as well. I'm big on that, on the mental health piece, on what athletes go through as being a college athlete, what they have to go through, as well as, with academics, with things that go on outside, with all that good stuff. So we kind of put everything together into a mindset model, which we actually had our first mindset training today. I think it went really well, but I think that's a huge part of the success. we encourage. We let the players know that it's okay to make mistakes, but we also want to make the next rep better. The goal is always to get 1% better every single day. But we pay close attention to how they are, how they're feeling that day. What can I get out of them? So one day it might be, I'm ready to go, coach. I get that full 100%. Whereas another day I might be sore and tore up, but I'm going to get that full 100 for that day, which might only be 70% of what they're capable of, but I'm going to get that full 100 from them that day. So again, just being encouraging, giving them, kind of having like I always tell them we got one speed and it's go. There's no downtime. Right. There's no time to worry about mistakes. There's no time for any of that. We got stuff we have to do. So the encouragement is there. The fight is there. We create, healthy competitions within the team, and just kind of get them kind of feeling themselves. We want them to start feeling themselves a little bit, get a little cocky, get a little, as an athlete, you have to have that type of swag about you. So we teach them those things as well. But yeah, I would say that's what we do on the very surface level. I would say that's what I bring to programs.
Okay, so when you say that mindset, you're reconditioning how a person may see themselves, B, how they might see the game, and then C, how they react to everything coming at them at one time.
Yes. So the mindset model that I've created, it basically, for one, it gives athletes an opportunity to be themselves. You can't play at your highest level if you're not able to be comfortable with who you are on the court. So that's the first piece. It teaches them accountability, responsibility, teaches them how to reframe negative thoughts and how to go through the progression of doing that, and just kind of how to feel themselves a little bit more and love up a challenge, have some grit. All those things all come together. It's an ongoing training. It's not like, okay, 2 days and you got your mindset training and high five. It's last semester long, and but it's really beneficial. So we implement it, and we always will. Right. It's one of those deals that you implement these new skill sets and mindsets that it can carry on to days when they're way off the court, when they're mothers and wives, and continue on being effective in the community. So it's a never-ending process. Oh, yeah. And I mean, even as coaches, even if there wasn't any mindset training involved, my goal as a coach is to I'm not just coaching players. I'm not just coaching volleyball. I'm helping young women not just to be the best athlete they can, but to be the best woman that they can be. And so we teach all of these things, the life lessons, even with showing up early to things. If you're showing up early, you're on time. If you're showing up on time, you're late. These are interviews. Come to interview early. Let them know that that's the job that you want. There's a lot of life lessons that us as college coaches can relay and teach these young athletes that will translate when they get finished with college and stuff, that we need to take full advantage of. Here we'll do a financial literacy seminar that I'll put on for them. My background is in accounting, so you don't have to. They'll get that. A lot of stuff that they might just not have had, even if it's an etiquette class. Whatever the case may be, we try to give them as many tools as we can for them to be successful, not just as college athletes, but later on as well. Okay, sounds awesome. Now, we're speaking right now with Coach Cheri Lindsey of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, volleyball coach heading into the 23 season. I guess it's official to say 23-24 season, but it'll be the dawn of a new season coming up here real quick before you know it. A lot of people get confused. They think it's about football, but volleyball season starts 1 or 2 weeks ahead of football season. By the time they're getting off the ground, you guys got almost, at least 4 or 5 matches under your belt, right? Yes. We start early August, late August. Okay. Now, when you are in the recruiting phases, so you have recruiting responsibilities in other locations, how challenging is it to recruit that player that you know is going to make a difference, to get past maybe some of the stigmas that they might have about playing at an HBCU or playing on what they might consider not a Power 5 D1 level, but a lower D1 tier? How do you overcome that challenge? Well, this is my thing. I think that even, say, for instance, when I was at East Central, we were a mid-major Division II. We weren't a fully funded Division II. There's some Division IIs out there that are bigger than some Division Is, and so we were kind of right in the middle there. We were kind of in the middle of nowhere, and we're selling the school, and me as a coach, I'm going to sell my program. I'm going to sell the school. I'm going to take volleyball out of it because my goal is to bring people here that want to be here, that want to be at Prairie View, that want to have this experience. But you want to take volleyball out of that anyway, because if something were to happen where you wouldn't be able to play volleyball here, can you still see yourself being a student at Prairie View A&M? So that would be where I would start. But going around to these club tournaments, I feel like I have a very strong eye for talent. I know players who can play for me. I know the type of swag that I look for in a player. I know the personality. I know the athletic ability, the skill set. I know those things that I personally look for. And then, you just reach out. As coaches, we're going to get told no more than we're going to get told yes. But the ones that we do get to say yes, those are the ones that we really want, and we're going to try to grow those players into being who we need them to be able to be successful in our program. Now, me personally, I always I recruit a lot. I'm always out. I'm on the road all the time. We'll be going to Lone Star in the next couple of weeks here. And so there's so much talent out there, but I think particularly there's a lot of talent in Texas. There's a lot of Texas volleyball. Texas is a volleyball state. And so there's always going to be somebody who you can recruit. And so I don't really so much worry about any stigmas or anything like that, because if we're a fit for you, we're a fit for you, whether we're in HBCU or not. I want to bring in players who want to ball and they want to play and they want to win games. My goal is to win games outside of the SWAC. And so I'm pretty firm in that. And so we're coming to do that.
Now, you just had me do a happy dance for a second with this last statement you made. Your goal is to do what, young lady?
Oh, we don't win games outside of the SWAC. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm going to be like the for one more time for those in the back. What's your goal again?
The goal is to win games outside of the SWAC. Absolutely.
Okay. That has been my challenge, not only to Prairie View, but to the SWAC overall. We beat up on each other all the time, and this draws for exciting watch. But we got to strike a chord outside of the conference, and that takes that creative out-the-box thinking and maybe an out-the-box approach on how you assemble your team together. Now, I was listening for it, but I'm assuming, I'll ask this question, how important is a volleyball IQ over athleticism?
Oh, your IQ matters way more than athleticism. It's always nice to have an athlete, someone who can get up and, put the ball in the 10-foot line. But the vast majority of the points that are scored are not going to be on the 10-foot line. I know that's the exciting thing to see. You can hit the ball hard. But if I can find a player who can go off the high hands of the block or knows how to tool the edges of the block, has a great skill set as far as, I'm going to put the ball where you're not, points are going to be points. And those points are going to rack up accordingly. Now, you find that player that has athletic ability as well as a high IQ. See, now you're cooking with grease here. And that's what we look for. And those are the type of players that I look for. I want to see it. Even at the high school level, it might be a little rocky still because they're still trying to figure it out. But you can see a player who's thinking through the game. And that's kind of what we're teaching the players here now. We're learning film study. We're learning, like I said, we're doing the mindset training. We're learning a skill set. And you actually have to study the game in order to be the best that you can be at it. My brother is the best person in the world at that. I've never met anybody in the world who studies a game more than my little brother does. And that's what I want to see out of these girls, because you want to be the best you can be. You have to know everything that you can know. And so that's where we're at with it right now. We're finding IQ, we're training IQ, and we're bringing in athletes at the same time.
Okay. Now, when it comes to recruiting season for you in volleyball, you may have been a little late getting in on this round, but when is the apex time for recruit? I know you're recruiting all the time, but when is the most effective time to recruit on the college level?
Yeah, so volleyball typically recruits pretty far out. So right now, I would say we're a little bit behind as far as like 2024s and 2025s. 2023s, there's still a little bit of time for that. That's the beauty kind of the transfer portal a little bit. You can bring in some players that have already played at the college level and, can kind of contribute to your program right away. But the prime time for actually like recruiting freshmen and stuff is January through June, like sometimes early July, whenever nationals is, and that's the prime club season. You go to these club tournaments, and there's 200 plus courts going at the same time. There's a wealth of talent all the way from 11 years old all the way up to 18. But you can go and you can really look and evaluate. And it's long weekends and you're on your feet and stuff like that. But there's so much good volleyball, and that's why I say there's a place for everybody to play. And there's a school for everyone to be at, but I want to find the ones that want to be at Prairie View. And so like I said, a little bit behind as far as working on 24s and 25s, but there's still time, and we'll be at Lone Star next week, and we'll go to nationals and AAUs and kind of pick up a little bit of the slack there.
Now, you and I, we appreciate and understand the value of Prairie View, but I'm amazed that over the years throughout my travel, there are still some people who've never heard of this place called Prairie View. Is that a harder person to recruit?
No, you want to know what's crazy? I say this. Let me get you on this campus. I get you on this campus, there's no way you're not going to want to be here. I hadn't been back here since I graduated because I took off and went to Ohio. And so when I came in, for my interview and stuff, I was like, where am I? First of all, the campus has grown so much. Everything has changed so much. There's been a lot of effort that's been put into this campus. It's awesome. So you get me a player, you let me get her on this campus. I'm going to get her every single time. And not just because of what the campus looks like, but because of, for one, what we can offer to her as a team. But, the majors here, we're big on engineering. We have, the nursing. Like, we take everything. The education level has been upped here. The campus has been upped. We need to up the athletic ability as well. So, yeah, I'm excited for what we have to offer here. I'm excited to start getting people on campus and showing them what Prairie View has to offer. We actually just signed a young lady who played for me at East Central, and she's from Bryan College Station. And she came up here and was like, Coach, why didn't I know this school was here? And I'm like, I don't know. You're 45 minutes away.
Wow.
But when she got here, she was absolutely blown away by the campus and by this is a gold mine here for anyone who wants to come and get that experience and also be on a really, really nice campus. So I look forward to getting more people up here.
Well, we're looking forward to watching you build this program. I'm going to say from ground zero to have your own signature on it. And let me ask you this, Coach, what has been your greatest hurdle thus far coming back home and seeing things from the captain's chair versus the assistant level? I know you've always been a follower of yourself as the captain, but what is it like being the captain at home?
Oh, I love it. It's personal.
Right.
Mostly just because I want to see my alma mater do well, and that's anyone. I think you want to see the program progress. You want to see upward trend. Programs are going to have up and down years and all that, but you want to see some consistency as far as the player experience. Winning is fun, so that always helps the playing experience. You want to see those type of things. I think. Another challenge is it's a new system. It's a new experience for these young athletes. And I will say this: these young ladies are working. We've only been going for about 2 weeks, but these young women are working their butts off right now, and that's all I can really ask for. They're cheering each other on. They're loud. It's louder in the gym than it's probably been in quite some time. They're supporting each other, and they're adapting to what's new. So I wouldn't even say that that's one of the challenges because they're ready to go, and so we're going to keep plugging away at it this spring in the time that we have. But like I say, yeah, just a new system. It makes everyone a little bit uncomfortable. But other than that, we're rolling, man.
Well, you know what? I'm curious to know, without going into full detail, could you give a summary what your first time meeting with your squad was like when you got to Prairie View?
No. So my first time, as soon as I accepted the position, the first thing I did was got all their phone numbers. My first day on the job, everybody was on spring break, and I was like, yeah, we can't have that. So I reached out to them. We had phone conversations before I even got on the campus. Again, just introducing myself, letting them know that it's not all bad when you get a new coach. It's terrifying for athletes when you get a new coach, absolutely, because it's uncomfortable, and nobody likes to be uncomfortable. But the only way to grow is through uncomfortability, unfortunately. And so, I reached out to him, we talked, and I kind of gave him my idea of what I wanted. I gave him kind of a rundown of who I am as a coach, where I come from. little background on my family and, what we do and what's expected of us, and that's the type of coach I am. But I also gave them an opportunity to ask questions, and I was very, had a huge effort to be as transparent as I could and as honest as I can ever be, because that's my philosophy as a coach. I'm going to be honest and fair at all times, and just kind of gave them that opportunity to kind of get to know me a little bit. It was about a couple weeks before I even started working here, or before I got here.
Okay, very good. Now, look, I am appreciating you so much for your time. I value your time. I know you're in the middle of getting ready. But if you could, I don't have your schedule right before me. Could you roll off your first couple of matches for this 23 season, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, so actually I have it pulled up here. So we're going to go to a couple tournaments. So the way that volleyball kind of works, the first 4 weekends are usually tournament weekends. So you get to play 3 to 4 non-conference games. So the first weekend, I don't have it directly in front of me, but off the top of my head, we're going to Tarleton first weekend, where we'll play 3 games there, and then we'll go to HCU, and then Corpus Christi, and then we'll go down to Louisiana, Lafayette, and we'll play a couple of games there. I think we'll play them in Nichols. And then when we come back, we're full-go conference.
So it's SWAC time.
It's SWAC time.
Yes, ma'am. But we want to make a dent before we get back to conference, and I do love that comment so much. Well, Coach, once again, welcome back home. And if you don't mind, we would love to keep a tag with you and chat with you throughout the course of the season, see how things are going for you guys, and would love to welcome you on board to the Open Mic family.
Awesome. Thank you again for having me, and I hope you have a great day.
I hope you have a wonderful day as well. She is Coach Cheri Lindsey of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. I'm the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and our website is ovnradio.com. So until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.
We are the station designed with you in mind. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, where we are serving the community through faith and athletics since 2002. We are located in Prairie View, Texas, where we are dedicated to serving the local community with sporting events, church services, and information. You're invited to tune in and to join us each Sunday morning for Temple of Refuge Ministries live broadcast, Building the Kingdom One Soul at a Time, Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time. Each Monday through Friday, tune in to hear the Mike Prince Show as he covers the world of HBCU sports and beyond. This show has been the driving force for daily information when it comes to HBCU athletics. And tune in to listen to the Swac Zone each Saturday mornings. The Open Mic Broadcast Network covers Little League, high school, and college athletics. We also broadcast local community parades and events. And you can check us out on YouTube for our latest content. If you would like to help us support our broadcast, you may do so by making a donation at www.obnradio.com. We are the station designed with you in mind. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, where we are serving the community through faith and athletics since 2002.
Hi there, everyone. Yes, it's me, Donna G, back again on the MIC, representing for DG Sports and Entertainment. I always want to apologize, my good friends and fans and lovelies, for being absent so long. Actually, just life has just been getting in the way, and by the time I'm ready to record, it's kind of late. And then I did get it in last week, but it still was kind of late. So anyway, we're going to record early today to make sure that we get everything in at the necessary time. It's always important to meet your deadline, so remember that, guys, going forward. Anywho, I have missed you guys just in general, but also I've missed sharing the excitement and anticipation and all of the things that have been going on with the basketball tournaments this last month. So men's and women's been very exciting, which you guys know every time this year, very exciting always. Brackets have been busted, downright slashed in half and pummeled, all that good stuff, and for both men and women. So we have that and going on, and like I said, I just really missed being able to communicate with you guys about it. Anywho, listen, I'm just going to go back and do a catch-up of what's been going on the last month or what have you, and then we're going to get into this Final Four, okay? So, Swac men's basketball tournament, the regular season ended with Alcorn men's being number one and getting the championship or getting the regular season title, okay, for Swac men's basketball 2023. That was soon overturned by Grambling. So it has just really been, just been an awesome time. So that Wednesday, March 8th, Grambling and Bethune-Cookman, Grambling led 87-72. Alcorn got beat by Texas Southern. That was 62-66. Then March 9th, Jackson State and Prairie View went into overtime, and Jackson State won 62-60. Southern and Alabama A&M went on to beat Southern men 63-77. Friday, March 10th was Texas Southern and Alabama A&M 74-61. Texas Southern took that from Alabama A&M. Grambling State versus Jackson State was 78-69. So Grambling was the victor in that. And the last game was Texas Southern versus the number 2 seed Grambling State. And we know that Texas Southern won that 61-58. Everything was broadcasted on ESPN Plus, except for the last game, Texas Southern and Grambling, was ESPNU. All righty, dighty. Well, that was all good and fun for the SWAC. Let's go to the MEAC men. All right, we know the season winner, regular season winner was Howard University with 11-3 conference record. Same March 8th, Howard went on to play South Carolina State, was a victor, 91-55. North Carolina Central versus Delaware State, it was 89-59. Thursday was Maryland Eastern Shore against Morgan State, 80-64. Norfolk State versus Coppin State, 73-56. Friday, Howard versus Maryland Eastern Shore, 74-55. North Carolina versus Norfolk State, 65-72. Norfolk State in overtime. That was totally awesome game. Totally awesome game. Okay, so and then the championship game was between Howard and Norfolk State, and we know that Howard went on to take it all 65-64. That was like at the last minute, the buzzer. Like I said, very exciting game. Oh my gosh! Hey, you guys, down to the wire. You hear me? Now, let's go to our women. We can't forget about our women. Somebody said it was a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. I think so. Listen, we're in SWAC women, and our regular conference winner was Jackson State with a conference record of 17-1. They went on to, we had the tournament, the SWAC tournament, and Alabama A&M versus Arkansas Pine Bluff was 55-62. UAPB led Jackson State versus Grambling State, 59-50. Jackson State was the victor there. Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman, Thursday, March 9th. Southern versus Prairie View, 64-37. We kind of took a beat down on that one. Ooh, that didn't look so pretty. So, anywho, then the next game was Friday, March 10th, Jackson State versus Southern. Jackson State was the victor, 65-64. And Arkansas Arkansas Pine Bluff, UAPB. Let me say it like that because I'm not used to saying Arkansas and Pine Bluff. That's too much. UAPB versus Alabama State, and UAPB won. The game was between Southern. The championship game, Saturday, March 11th, was between Southern and Arkansas, UAPB, 62-53, and Southern won that. All right, let's head over to MEAC women's basketball. MEAC women's basketball. So MEAC women's regular season champion was Norfolk State with a conference record of 11-3. So March 8th was Norfolk and South Carolina State. Norfolk winning 61-37. Morgan State versus Maryland Eastern Shore, 46-49. Thursday, March 9th, North Carolina Central versus Coppin State. And Central came out the winner, 57-50. Howard versus Delaware, 67-35. Howard. Friday, March 10th, was Norfolk State and North Carolina Central, 81-59. Maryland Eastern Shore versus Howard, 60-62. Howard was the victor. And the championship game came down Saturday, March 11th, for Norfolk State and Howard. This is MEAC women. So you guys know we had some great games, and it's very exciting. So like I said, I just really miss sharing all of that with you guys, and I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's go to the first round of the tournament. Man, was that exciting? Okay, the first round, Texas Southern got kicked out, and somebody that was really could have beat them, in my opinion. And I'm not going to brag too much on them because everybody's like, oh, Prairie View in there. That's true. I was definitely rooting for Texas Southern, so let's not get it twisted there. I just wanted to see them win, and the team, the FDU team, I think was fairly comparable, and they definitely could have beat them had it, went on. So that's my 2 cents about it, and we're going to keep it moving, keep it pushing. Howard, for the MEAC men, they lost to Kansas 96-68. So first round got rid of everybody for MEAC and Swac for men, which is cool. Again, congratulations to those teams. At least they made it in. And FDU for a while there was giving everybody a run for their money, which is awesome. There's job security for that coach, and maybe even a promotion to another school, or higher school, Division I school. So, hey, congratulations to him, and best of luck. We're going to bring it on down to our Sweet 16 from last week. So we know that we had, let me see, it was Thursday, starting March 23rd, Sweet 16, Kansas State over Michigan State. Again, man, this just was some crazy games, 98-93. Crazy good, okay, crazy good. UConn over Arkansas, 88-65. Tennessee, Florida Atlantic over Tennessee, 62-55. And Gonzaga over UCLA, 79-76. Very close. No overtime, but these games were really good, going back and forth. Everybody was excited in bars and watch parties, all that good stuff. Friday was San Diego State over Alabama. Creighton over Princeton, 86-75. Miami, Florida, University of Miami, 89 to University of Houston, 75. That was a total upset because everybody was waiting for Houston to be in the Final Four this weekend, but didn't make it. But they had a great run. Congratulations to Houston, University of Houston. I actually went there for, a couple of weeks for summer school when I was transferring from the University of Oklahoma. I went to University of Houston for a couple of weeks during the summer, and I was like, I don't like that. And I ended up transferring to Prairie View. Anywho, our last game on Friday was Xavier and University of Texas. UT took that 83-71. Saturday, we had our Elite Eight. So, again, getting down to the wire. Great, awesome games. Total upset. Florida Atlantic over Kansas State. Florida Atlantic was still putting in their work. Still putting it in. San Diego State over Creighton. I think I caught the last few minutes of that game. That was down to the wire, 57-56. So, man, I think Creighton was up, I want to believe. And then San Diego came in, was like, get that out of here, and they won the game on the last couple of drives. So that was cool. University of Connecticut, UConn over Gonzaga, 82-54. And University of Miami over UT. So our Texas teams are out. UT, again, congratulations for making it that far. You guys are really awesome. And then you got a new permanent head coach. So we want to say congratulations to him as well. This Saturday brings on the Final Four here in Houston, Texas, and everybody is very excited about it. This week, we've already had the All-American game last night. That was if I will say, off the chain, if you want to say that. Also, we're going to have some more Fan Fest things going on this week. Thursday, I think I'm going to a slam dunk contest and Final Four. That's Thursday and Friday. They also have Fan Fest at the George R. Brown Convention Center on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm headed there on Friday. So lots of things, and then the game, of course, is the games, the last four games, or the last two games, 4 teams left are as follows: Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, that's 5-something on Saturday, University of Miami versus UConn, about 7:50, almost 8 o'clock on Saturday, April 1st. So we're looking to see what two are going to come out of those rankings or those two games, and then we'll have the tournament, the championship tournament on Monday, April 3rd. So again, very exciting times. Next week, this is so much information, but I'm going to talk about Swac baseball. Swac baseball and softball has been very exciting. Prairie View softball team has been knocking it off the park, and I'm hoping that they go ahead and take the regular season for the Swac this year. But we'll talk more about that. Again, lots of energy and lots of things going on this week with the SWAG and MEAC and basketball. I mean, other things. We had a Prairie View relays last week, so that was awesome. We're going to talk about that. And so, hey, just going to have a good time in the name of HBCU sports. It's more than football and basketball, of course. So we definitely want to make sure that the track get their stuff in, that volleyball, that golf, baseball, softball, all the other stuff, all the other sports that are at our historically black colleges and universities are being highlighted during this reel. So love you guys, and I will see and talk to you soon. Just make sure to note that any opinions expressed here are not those of the Mike Prince Show or Mike Prince. Also, I want you guys to be looking forward to some great things happening for the Labor Day Classics this year. I'm going to have a forum for the football players, as well as if you have a business and you are looking to hire some interns, paid internships. Now, we need some money here. And this, I'm asking for Prairie View football players as well as Texas Southern football players. Please get at me at DG Sports ENT on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I would really appreciate it. Or you can text at 832-293-DGSN. That's 832-293-3476. Let us know if you have legitimate stuff now, you guys, overboard. Now, we want some great opportunities that match up with their line of study. or just being able to need this summer to stay on campus, get what they need to do, and to practice. We're looking for some championships. So if that's you or your company, you have a company or you are a hiring manager at a company that can hire interns for the summer, please give us a jingle, DG Sports ENT, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We really appreciate it. So, again, look forward to some great things coming and happening. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
You're listening to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics, Prairie View, Texas. Welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network. It's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Of course, we try to bring you some things that you can use. Today is no exception to the rule. We are fortunate to have back with us no stranger to this show, no stranger to the industry of radio in the Houston area in particular, and that is none other than the man himself, Mr. Ralph Cooper. How you doing today, sir?
All right, Mike, and thanks for having me as part of your program. I appreciate it.
No problem. We appreciate you making yourself available, sir. Look, I want to refresh the mindset of those who are listening right now. You have been in this radio industry for how long now, sir?
Since 1969.
1969. That's older than mostly everybody that will partake in this particular episode. But it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? And, and I know you have seen things come and go. And in particular, what struck me to reach out to you is the state of radio as we know it now versus to what it once upon a time was. We know radio is over 100 years old, and everybody is in this video craze. Everybody is in a streaming craze right now. And they think that radio/audio, because I don't care how you call it, Brother Cooper, podcast ain't nothing but a delayed radio broadcast as far as I'm concerned. But radio is not dead, is it not, sir?
No, I don't think it's dead. If you believe it's dead, look at the new vehicles when they come out. They've always got a radio in them now. They may have added some things. You can get more stations maybe than you've ever been able to get before through the Sirius radio type thing. But I don't think radio is dead at all. I see more of it, in fact, now.
No doubt about it. We focus on this video craze, and it was $140 billion. Billion with a B. Yes, in 2022 on sports broadcasting and video television. So that's how we want to get. And $10 billion spent in radio. Now, when they look at those numbers, 140 compared to 10, that's no comparison. But that's still a lot of money, Brother Cooper, floating around out there for those in the radio industry.
Right, it is, and you, like during the football season or even during the basketball season, you can turn, especially on a Saturday or a weekend, you find games all over the place. In regards to football, college football, professional football, they have the NFL has its own network. Some colleges or universities now have their own network. So again, I go back, as you stated, there's a lot of money out there, and the radio part of it is raking in their part of it also.
Absolutely. Now, you've been in this thing since 1969, and you've seen the evolvement of radio as we know it today. What would you say have been some of the most challenging adjustments that you've had to make personally just to stay relevant in the radio business?
Well, one thing you have to realize now, because of what has happened with radio and social media being tied in and radio stations being tied in with the internet, you have to realize that you've got a wish that you desired many years ago. Many people leave their hometowns to have to let people hear them in other places, right? They have to leave. You have to go to New York or Chicago or Atlanta, Detroit or Miami or wherever it is, maybe even out of the country. But now, via radio, with the hookup with the internet, the social media, you can be seen or heard. Your radio program can be seen or heard anywhere. I've had people call in from Australia. I have regular callers from like Florida and California and New York and Detroit, and then you're still reaching the people right where you're located, right in your hometown, which you didn't want to leave. You wanted to build something in your own hometown, and that blessing has been granted thanks to God. And, there's not really much I can say about it. The biggest challenge has been the change in regards to production. When I first started, you had to splice tape. You had to reel a reel.
Yes, sir.
That's gone now.
Yes,
you can be on the radio now with a computer hookup, internet hookup, and you can bring in press conferences from anywhere. Press conferences, interviews, podcasts, as you stated, and other items you want to share on your program. So it's been a real blessing. It was a challenge to learn this, and the biggest challenge was listening. See, you're never too old to learn. I learned the value of social media from people who were younger than me, who were like interns to me. They knew the social media. I knew the radio. So the compromise was made. You teach me the social media, and I'll teach you how to be not only strong in radio, but stronger in regards to your social media site. So it worked out real well.
Absolutely. Now, if you had someone that's new to the game and unfortunately they don't learn how to splice tape and what a reel-to-reel is, heck, some of them don't know what a tape recorder is, but that's a whole other story. What would be some of the key points that you would want to guide someone into stepping into this game as we know it in the 21st century?
Well, first of all, I think you need to be, in my opinion, you need to know more than the people you're reaching and sharing information with. And there's some very smart people out there who read all the time. So you're going to have to really step it up to impress these people. Every day I try to have my best show is the next day. And one of the things I use is if I'm going to be good at this, I have to know more than those people who are listening to me. Or I have to take them into another zone in regards to what they already know and tie it in with what the other information that I've gotten about that same subject. It's not something easy to do because, again, but it is a challenge that I enjoy because you're going up against when you have people calling in on you, and they may be calling in from anywhere now, and it's a challenge for you. You have to be on top of your game. You have to be like Steph Curry. You're shooting three-pointers. You have to be like, Lamar Jackson, a great football player. You have to be on the top of your game in regards to mind thinking, in regards to sharing information with people who know a lot. You can't underestimate the people who listen to you, is one of the things I would share with. You can always learn something from them, but you can also share with them information they may not have.
Absolutely. And it's, people think you got to go way across country to be relevant or to, let's be honest, make a little financial gain out of this business. But to me, the greater opportunity now with internet, with social media, is right in your backyard because so many people have aborted that chasing the big dream has left the gate unattended and wide open.
Right, and see now, okay, like you hit a key. Via Zoom and other type items like that you can use. You can be part of press conferences in other places. You can interview people via Zoom. Some of us have always interviewed people like you and I are doing right now on the telephone. But the technology has taken it to another level, and it's up to us in regards to how you're going to do it. See, when I first started, one of the things that I realized, I'm dealing with a game. When I say a game, I'm dealing with an industry where most of the reporters who covered sports were white males, right? They were white males. Okay. This is 1969. I'm 21 years old. And I noticed something right off the bat. in regards to how they interviewed people. They had notebooks, right? They had little tablets and a pencil or a pen, and they were taking down the quotes as the players shared the information. I realized that I thought about it. I said, if I get a tape recorder, I don't cut the flow. You know what I'm talking about? You can let the guys flow through without you trying to having to write down everything they were saying. You just let them talk, right? When you ask a question. So it got to, when I first did that, I went to a Houston Oilers camp, the first one I ever went to. And the Oilers at that time, 1969, they had increased the number of blacks that they had in camp, right? So I knew some of them because of Texas Southern and other places. And when they saw me with the tape recorder, everybody wanted to be interviewed, right? Even their white counterparts, wanted to be interviewed. So now you jump into how do you utilize this now? With the teams are much different now, especially the pro teams and even the college teams. You had access to the players. Now, since they have their own networks, you have somewhat of a problem. But what I've learned is you try to develop relationships. If you develop a relationship with the individual, you will have access to them in regards to being able to interview them. And
absolutely.
But with the teams now, they want to control who the players talk to, where they buy their cars from, where they buy their home, who's the real estate guy. All that goes into this stuff now, especially on the professional level. And now with the kids, the younger players, being able to make monies in college with their image, it's going to filter down there also. Where, like in the past, you just walk up to a guy, and he either told you yes or no, or you got chewed out in some instances by individuals. I was chewed out when I first started. The great baseball player Bob Gibson was the first one to chew me out. It was a Friday night. He had a bad night, right? And this was in Houston. And I didn't know all the rules then because I was just starting. This was in, early 70s, about 70. So I decided, since it was Friday night and I was a single guy, I'd go get me an interview with Bob Gibson and be gone before the game was over. So the policeman didn't stop me. He let me in to the locker room, right? And I see Bob Gibson sitting down by his locker, by the place they had given him in the Astrodome. And I opened my mouth and I say, said something like, Mr. Gibson, I'd like to interview you about the game tonight. And what did I say that for? Get your black, you know what, out of here. How did you get in here?
Oh, man. Well, one thing about Bob Gibson, they say he was an equal opportunist. He let anybody have it. It didn't matter who it was.
Well, about 2 days. But see, what happened was the late Jimmy Wynn and Bob Watson, they were members of the Astros, right? And they saw him. And he was inquisitive this was on a Friday. The team stayed in town for 3 or 4 days back then. So that Saturday, I didn't go back to the game, but I discovered that Sunday when I went back, he had talked to them. He said, I chewed out some young black guy. And they said, oh, that's Ralph Cooper. He said, you chewed him out? He said, yeah, he came into the locker room before the game was over. So he said, I want to apologize to him because when they told him that I had just started, right? So anyway, but I ended up apologizing to him too because I didn't know the rule, right? So we became, you became somewhat of a friend, because of that.
That's
and that
right.
Same thing happened. I messed up with the golfer Charlie Sifford. Now he was more brutal. I went into the locker room after he had shot. I had a bad day on the golf course. Here in Houston, the Houston Open back in the day. I go in there and ask him for an interview. Man, he still calling me name. But guess what? We became friends, and when he would come to town, he would take me out to eat and club and all that kind of stuff back in the day. So what I'm sharing with these younger people, you try to develop relationships with individuals. And you may be surprised. I never would have gone to Africa if I didn't know Muhammad Ali. But I wouldn't have gone to Africa if I didn't know George Foreman better. You see what I'm saying? So when the time came to go to Africa for the Rumble in the Jungle, you run into, like I say, the youngsters need to develop these relationships with these guys while they are their ages, right? So I run into George Foreman at a party, and he said, he he shared with me that the fight was going to happen in Africa. It was like the fight happened in November, October that year, '74. But here it is. Here we are in February, right? And he said, he started sharing with me they're gonna have the fight they had signed, and would you like to come? I'll find you something to do, which meant that you would get paid, right? Right. We go to Africa for a couple of months without getting any money coming in. So sure enough, that's how that worked out. I mean, you have to. I would advise them to have friendships or try to get to know. If there's somebody you went to school with, and they're playing professional football, and you are now a reporter or basketball, they're playing whatever they're doing, you should be able to have some type of relationship with them. Clifford Branch, Worthing High School. Otis Taylor, Worthing High School. Michael Singletary came later, but Worthing High School, right? Right. So and you knew all the relatives. So because of those relationships, you were able to get stories or interviews with those individuals that other people couldn't get. So you relate that to 2023. If you got a relationship with some youngster coming up, the next Michael or LeBron or whatever, or Steph Curry, you should be able to find a way to get an interview with the individual and become friends. And
when it all boils down, and I've been trying to echo that same thing, regardless of how large your platform is or how small your platform, it won't move until you have the right relationships. You learn how to develop relationships. And it's not that you become a what they call a brown noser. We go, brown nose only goes so far, but you respect the person's space. You know the rules now. You don't come in on a player who had a bad game and his hours are still functioning. You give them time to calm down, right? But they respect you because they know you have a job to do. You have goals you're trying to accomplish, and they in turn extend their friendship and kinship to people they may know to get you access to. So it's that building those right relationships, and I'm so glad that you pointed that out. You told us about Bob Gibson. You told us about getting chewed out. Was there anyone that you can recall that you were interviewing and you didn't see it yet, but they turned out to be a superstar?
Yes, yes. One is Darryl Green, Washington, Washington football team, Washington Redskins, now the Commanders. He was a student at Jones High School in Houston, and I saw him running track. And you may have stuck a mic in front of him while he was in high school, right? You stuck a microphone in front of him, not having any idea because maybe of his size. You knew he could run. It was speed that kept him in the NFL for 20 plus years, but you had no idea he would play in the NFL for 20 years, and but because you interviewed him when he was young, right? He remembered that. You interviewed him when he was young in high school. You interviewed him when he came here with Texas A&I to play college football. Then you interviewed him in the pros, and you formed a relationship where, in 2022. We both went into the Texas Black Sports Hall of Fame at the same time, not knowing that when we first met, he probably had no idea he would play 20 years in the NFL, right? And I definitely didn't have no idea he would play 20 years and that both of us would be in some Black Sports Hall of Fame in 2022. So that happens like that. I mean,
yes, sir.
And you have to be, again, you have to take advantage of the opportunities that you get, and always remember to be professional because you never know who's watching. And see, I've been involved in 2 documentaries, both on boxing champions, George Foreman and Evander Holyfield, separate ventures, right? And I was asked to be the guy who did the interview and some of the talking, etc., right? Because of my relationship with the two of them. I knew all the information, but also because of the professionalism, I was able to become involved in that. So I go back. You can never underestimate that person. You never know who that person is going to be. So the best thing to do is to have an open mind in regards to being fair when you interview the people. You treat unknown so-and-so, unknown Daryl Green, like you would a Jesse Owens. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Wilma Rudolph. You treat them with the same amount of respect because you really don't know how it's going to end up.
Absolutely. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. And sometimes, do you still have some of these archives? Cool.
I've got them somewhere. I got a box with a bunch of stuff in there I need to go through.
Well, you need to get one of them youngsters, man, where they can turn those tapes into MP3s, man, and you can share some of that history.
Right.
You know, and that's part of the gift that keeps on giving. But it's always a blessing to be able to sit down and learn from a person such as yourself. And I know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to drop another name, man, who I hold you two guys in the same esteem. And he's no longer with us, but that's King Arthur.
Right.
What he did for the black community, athletic-wise, through his newspaper, was beyond what people really comprehend, and especially now that he's no longer with us. And if I'm not mistaken, that paper is no longer in circulation, right?
Right. The paper is no longer in circulation. And remember, the King Arthur Prather, who was out of Louisiana, was he was dedicated to sharing the news of the young via his newspaper that he created. He was very dedicated at that. He took a lot of pride in it, and he started off at the Forward Times. At the Forward Times, and he did some stuff with me on the radio. And I'm gonna share something with you. This coming summer, he will be part of the Houston Independent School District's Wall of Honor. He's going to be honored by the HISD for the work he did, and I think his son will be accepting the award and speaking on his behalf. So all of that's going to be happening. I just shared something with you. Maybe I shouldn't have been sharing, but I know it's going to happen. It's already been voted on, and I'm proud to be a part of that also. But he was a guy who worked hard. He, like I said earlier, I didn't emphasize that enough. I mentioned the reading part and knowing the information, but the other thing is you have to outwork people. One of the things that keeps me going right now, the fact that you're doing what you're doing, and some others are doing what they're doing, and then you got a host of younger people trying to do some things. But again, I go back. You've got to have the knowledge. If you're not smarter, or if you get to the point where you are satisfied just being average, it'll work. But it will not work if you have the attitude that I'm going to be smarter than my listeners and have more information to share with them, and I'm going to have an open mind enough to learn something from them also that I may not know.
Well, sir, with that being said, I guess you couldn't have wrapped it up in the bow much better than what you just did, sir. No better. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your light shining ever so bright in this industry, something that I personally don't take for granted, and I appreciate every opportunity that I get a chance to speak with you and grow the more from you as a man, as a broadcaster, as a personality in this community, man. And you can't say thank you enough for all you've contributed to this community and beyond.
But again, I thank you for the interview, and more important than that, I thank you for the inspiration. Every day I look for something to be inspired by. So today, one of the things that inspired me was your call asking to talk to me. So thank you for the inspiration.
All right. No problem at all, sir. He is Mr. Ralph Cooper.
Thank you.
Legendary voice of the Houston area. I'm the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. We want to thank you guys so much for joining in with us. Don't forget, visit our website at obnradio.com. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.